Welcome back at Automotodrom Brno. It is the final event of the ESETCup series in 2024, and we have got another race on our program. Slight change of the program from yesterday. We are going to show you also the second race of the Suzuki Swift Cup Europe. Cars already lined up on the starting grid. It should be a familiar sight for you if you watch ESETCup series together with us, because the European Suzuki Swift Cup is a usual addition to the entire tally of championships and cups that we welcome on board. My name is Pavel Fabri, I'm your commentator for the weekend. Cars already lined up on the starting grid, and of course, like usual, we've got two classes. It is the 1.6 and 1.4. And it's Gabor Foraj from Hungary, who is sat on pole position at the head of the grid with the car number 588. You can actually notice that the two classes are actually separated from one another on the grid. There is one or two rows that are skipped on the grid, so that both championships can have a bit of a separate start. They are reacting to the same set of lights, but they have been spaced from one another slightly, because the performance of the respective cars is a little different, and we just want to avoid any unnecessary drama. Already Suzuki Swift Cup offers quite a lot of it in itself. So Gabor Foraj at the head of the grid, where we are currently getting with our drone wonderful view of the entire field. Alongside Gabor Foraj, Ester Nemet in that white Swift on the right hand side of your picture. Of course, the order being decided by reverse grid conditions. It is Marton Čuzy in third, and then Zsombor Pinter in fourth, from Balázs Hartmann, István Bernula, Moritz Čermej, Fabian Di Bionka, Ton Knappen and Bastian Frischmann completing the top 10. Ferenc Hartmann then following in 11th, and he's actually at the head of the second class, from Josef Merk, Greta Gál, Egon Burkuš, Maciej Šupčinsky, Milan Merk, Zoltán Čuty, Boris Lisiecky and Richard Král completing the entire field. Right alongside the race starting procedure, we are still finishing the previous part of the program, and that was the GT sprint that is actually currently undergoing its podium celebration, so you may hear anthems being played in the background. Yesterday's race was won by Fabian Di Bionka, the Polish driver, first across the line, also setting the fastest lap in the process, and he beat Moritz Čermej and István Bernula. In the process, these three drivers then, of course, completed the podium. Balázs Hartmann, Zsombor Pinter, Marton Čuzy, Ester Nemet and Gabor Foraj completed the top 8. That was actually reversed for grid number 2. And we are underway for the formation lap, 5.4 kilometer racetrack. We're gonna have to get some heat into the tires and brakes and get the cars ready for the action. So up ahead we have the field of the 1.4 turbo cars, slightly smaller engine. It's the newer generation of the Swift, which is, if you notice, slightly bigger than the previous one. the older one, having a slightly bigger engine, but no turbocharger, so down on power comparatively. And it was actually noticeable already yesterday. I mean, I watched the start of the first race from the track side, and it was quite an interesting sight, because as the cars made their way around the first corner and disappeared onto the hill towards turn number 2, one of the slower class cars, the last one actually, got delayed at the start and was already trailing and losing behind everyone else, and right behind it was the medical car with its flashing blue lights on. And I just thought that must have been quite an interesting sight for the guy as a racing driver, if you have to complete your first racing lap under full green conditions with a blue flashing lights in your rear view mirrors all through the lap. That's not something that you will witness and experience every day. But yeah, the 1.6 class Suzuki's quite down on power, so even the i30 that is being used as the safety car and the rescue car showing a greater performance and having to not really use full power and go all the way flat out. We are now getting back up the hill with Gabor Foray. He was 8th yesterday, sits on pole for the second race of the weekend. Currently it is Moritz Čermej leading the championship at 213 points. This is the last race of the season. Balázs Hartmann in second at 188. István Bernula further 2 points down at 186. For the 1.6 standings, it is Zoltán Čuty first at 222 points, 6 points ahead of Maciej Šupčinský, and then Boris Lisiecký having 194 points to his name. A little careful procedure. All of the drivers have to get into their grid positions now. Takes a little bit of time to actually get everybody in the correct grid slot. I believe that it's now been done, and we are waiting for the green flag signal. Here it is. So all eyes on the gantry above the road. The red lights are on, the red lights are off, and we are racing. 25 minutes of racing action right ahead of us, with Gabor Foray setting off from pole position in his Suzuki Swift on the right hand side of your picture, having a fight with Ester Nemeth into the first corner, and Ester is about to lead a Suzuki Swift race. Ooh, and we've got one of the cars spinning around at the end of the start and finish straight. That's one of the cars from the 1.6 class. Is the car gonna get going again or not? That's the car number 500, and that is Egon Burkuš in trouble, who is now stopped in the middle of the road. The rest of the pack still fighting on the opening lap of the race, with Ester Nemeth still leading. And then there's a big fight. Even the yellow Swift guys coming through. Moritz Čermej, the championship leader, and also Balázs Hartmann with the yellow and black car further up ahead. But it is Ester Nemeth. Fantastic opening lap so far. Bad luck for her that the race should be neutralized with a safety car, or maybe not, because I'm checking again the start and finish straight, and it seems that Egon Burkuš got going again, which means that we might actually do without a safety car in the end after all. Gabor Foray losing actually quite a lot of ground right on the grid. The car number 588 somewhere around P5, and now getting overtaken once again A big fight into the Kevin Schwantz corner. And Esther Nemeth extending her lead. The predominantly white car, that's Ton Knappen, under pressure, or actually putting pressure on Gabor Foray, who's really not had a very good opening lap of the race and has been falling through. And around the final couple of corners we go. Esther Nemeth leading from Marton Čuzy. Balázs Hartmann in third from Moritz Čermej. István Bernula behind them in the black car in fifth from Ton Knappen, who's already made his way up into sixth, gained 3 places from the start. On the other hand, Gabor Foray, having sat on pole position, lost 6 positions already. He's down in P7. Fabian Dibionka, yesterday's race winner, remained in 8th from Jean-Bor Pinter, who lost 5 positions on the opening lap. Bastian Frischmann completing the top 10 for the moment. In the 1.6 class, it is Maciej Szubczynski leading, and this is good for his championship fight. Because Zoltán Čuty, the championship leader, is currently only 15th overall and 5th in the class. So this would effectively hand the title to Maciej Szubczynski if the order remains the same all through the race. But we've only done 4 minutes of that, so still quite a lot to fight for. And there's a championship up for grabs. Not so much in the 1.4 turbo class. The situation is rather sorted out there in favor of Moritz Čermej, who has already also set the fastest lap of the race at 2:35.7, and he's the only driver to lap under 2:36 so far. Moritz Čermej, the championship leader, currently fancying a podium position. That would be a fitting end to his title glory in 2024. Fabian Dibionka now snatching the fastest lap off his hands, 2:30.5. Of course, the first lap was the first lap. Now the lap times, of course, dropping dramatically. And Esther Nemeth, fantastic race for her, honestly. Already 1.5 second gap in the race lead. That is looking good for the moment after first 6 minutes of the race, while Marton Čuzy comes under pressure from both the yellow Swifts, and it is now both Balázs Hartmann and Moritz Čermej coming through, entering the stadium section. So Čermej currently in the podium scoring positions, so is Balázs Hartmann. Marton Čuzy dropping down from second to fourth within 1 corner, actually. István Bernula already losing more than 2 seconds to this group, and rather coming under pressure from yesterday's winner, Fabian Dibionka, who remained in 8th at the start and across the opening lap, but then since then has gained 2 positions. This is getting feisty. Moritz Chermay trying to find his way past. He got a tiny little overly aggressive into the Kevin Schwann's corner, but corrected everything, so still remains very closely behind Balázs Hartmann. Up the hill we go, with Ester Nemeth still enjoying quite a nice lead in the first place. Balázs Hartmann in second, from Chermay, who's now sending it down the inside. This is the 1.6 class, still being led by Maciej Szubczyński. In the meantime, Gábor Foraj, the pole sitter, has dropped all the way to the back of the 1.4 turbo class, so he's now last in this category. Something must have gone very wrong for Gábor Foraj. It is not usual to drop from first to last within a couple of laps, simply on pure merit. Doesn't really happen that often. And Moritz Chermay slipstreaming past Balázs Hartmann. And both very close to one another indeed. Maciej Szubczyński leading the 1.6 class, car number 571. Actually no longer, because it is Ferenc Hartmann who's already got ahead, and he now holds the 11th position overall. Szubczyński fell down to second, at least across the line, and Richard Král is making his way up the order, and interestingly, so is Egon Burkush, who was sent spinning on the opening lap of the race. And well, no, sorry, that's just a glitch of the live timing yet again. So it's Burkush who is still last, but he has already caught up with the rest of the field. In the meantime, Ester Nemeth already enjoying a lead of nearly 3 seconds. Great stuff from Ester Nemeth. And Moritz Chermay coming through, having dealt with Balázs Hartmann, moving into second overall. Now, is he going to be able to get close to Ester Nemeth and fight for the race victory or not? Oh, and we've got one of the cars rolling over. That was a massive, massive shunt in the final corner, and this is going to stop the race, I'm pretty sure about that. What a crash that was. I'm trying to see really who that is, and we've immediately got the safety car at the scene of the accident. I believe that the driver is signaling thumbs up, I'm okay, which is the most important thing to see. We've got the drone at the spot. That was a massive one. Safety car is out, of course, the medical car at the scene of the accident, and another rescue vehicle also coming for help. And that very well might be either Jozef or Milan Merk. The driver seems to be unable to open the door. So we're probably going to need some heavy machinery right now. We'll see. I'm just checking the rescue operation on one of the cameras. Of course, the track marshals, the fire marshals are now making sure that nothing is leaking from the car, that there is no imminent risk of a fire breaking out. The race will of course get neutralized, which means that Esther Nemeth loses her big lead. It was already 3.6 seconds ahead of Moritz Čermej, and the last lap she did 0.6 of a second faster than Čermej, but mind you, Moritz Čermej had only just about got himself to second, so maybe would have been able to start reducing that gap. All of the cars have to come through the pit lane.
Suzuki Swift Cupu jeden z vozů, vy jste to bohužel neviděli. Možná nám to ukáže televizní záznam, auta musí projíždět boxovou uličkou. Takže vidíme jenom rozbitý vůz, ale nevíme, do koho a jak praštil.
So we're trying to get at least some information, and I've got two cars that are no longer in the race according to the live timing, and it is both Merk guys, Milan Merk and Jozef Merk, and they may have come together, which yeah, would have been a family disaster. But I wasn't really able to read which car that was, because the car is so crumpled that the numbers aren't really readable on it. The car has now been pushed off the track, so the clearing actions continue as we also continue behind the safety car, so the race is neutralized, not stopped. And this is the driver. Who's fine, most importantly. Now let's see that. Ooh, and he even collected that tire pack. Is it 506 or is it 577? I really struggle to read that. But both of these cars have not completed another lap since then. They have, so it's 506. It's Milan Merk. According to the live timing screen, it is Milan Merk who got in trouble. Jozef Merk continuing in 15th overall, 5th place in the class, and the car number 577 keeps on going. But we didn't really see the beginning of the incident. Really, the camera just shot into the correct angle last moment, so we didn't really see what caused the accident, whether there was a contact or simply it was maybe the corner being cut way too much and hitting the tire barrier. That's what I can assume probably could have happened. We are still trying to analyze the footage, but of course it's not really possible so much. But for Milan Merk, this is game over. Most importantly, the driver is okay. That's great to see after a shunt like that. And again, I need to say, we haven't really had much trouble all through the weekend. Minimum of safety cars, minimum of yellow flags even during the races. So, of course, it is not nice to end the weekend like this with a lengthy safety car period and that dramatic collision in the final corner. The time is still running, of course. We do not have time to stop the clock and extend the entire schedule for the day. So We are finishing the 17th minute of the race, and we'll only have a little time left. And there it is. There was the crash. The cameraman reacted very quickly. However, not knowing, of course, that the incident would come about, wasn't really. It was focusing on the fight in the category, which is of course correct. But we didn't really see the beginning of the incident. Never mind that. The most important thing is that Milan Merck seems to be fine, at least for the moment. He will have to go to the medical center for brief checks at least. And yeah, the car seems to be totaled. Taking a hefty damage through the incident. Of course, the roll cage doing its job, which is great to see. So even though the car rolled over, the driver stayed safe within the safety cage inside the car. Every car that enters circuit racing has to be fitted with a roll cage, exactly for this reason. So 7 minutes left in the race. Not really sure if we get much more green action. I believe so, because the crashed car has already been dragged away, the racing driver is away, and the track marshals are finishing the cleaning works, which means that I believe that we might even be able to restart the race. Well, I was going to say at the end of this lap, probably not, because there is a big smudge on the track, and we're going to have to A, sweep that, and B, maybe even treat it. If it's just the coolant, then we may probably just leave it like that. If it's oil, then that's something that needs to be taken care of. Naturally, well, luckily, that puddle, so to say, or the stain, is on the outside of the final corner where the cars do not normally go. And so, with everything cleared, no, the safety car still remains at the head of the field. I believe one more lap, and we might be racing again, but we've only got 5 minutes left. And behind the safety car, we're lapping the track in about 3.5 minutes, 3:23, let's say. That means that we might only be left with one racing lap. But if not, then maybe it's time to red flag the race and not resume it, because the cars are again driving through the pit lane. And it is Ester Nemet on course for victory. Looking good, honestly. Ester Nemet in the lead, having made a good start from second on the grid, overtaking Gabor Foray in the process, and then extending the gap in the race lead, which has now disappeared, yes, but the pace was really good for Ester Nemet. However, behind her right now, it is Moritz Chermay, who is the, well, this year's champion, and that means that he's definitely no slow driver. Balázs Hartmann in third from Marton Čuzy, István Bernula, Fabian Dibionka, Ton Knappen, Zsombor Pinter, Gábor Foraj and Bastian Frischmann, completing the 1.4 turbo class. Behind them, currently, Maciej Šupčinský back in the lead of the 1.6 class from Boris Lisiecký, Zoltán Čuty, Greta Gál, Josef Merk, Ferenc Hartmann, Richard Král and Egon Burkuš. Milan Merk, of course, out of contention after that tumble through the final corner. So I hope that at the end of this lap we might be restarting the race, because the track marshals are not even on the track anymore. So that means that everything must be ready. So we're waiting for the safety car to reach the beginning of the final sector, where it should turn its lights off. We have 2 minutes left on the clock, so that is okay for one more lap, which we are very probably getting. Safety car still with the lights on. We are reaching the second sector. And we will be restarting the Suzuki Swift Cup race for one final lap in 2024. The safety car has gone already. The cars are driving rather slowly, I need to say. I think Esther Nemeth can go maybe a tiny little faster, but it is completely up to her to really choose the pace and the moment when we will go green again. I mean, we are going green with the flags, but the moment when we will go back to full speed. Final lap awaiting us, or maybe is this the sort of tactics that we saw a couple of years back in the Renault Twingo Cup? Is Esther Nemeth trying to leave the time to run out before we reach the end? Maybe, yeah, because we've only got 40 seconds left. Is she going to drive deliberately slowly not to make it across the line in time, so that this would officially, effectively confirm the race victory? No. We are going back full speed in the final moment, but that was a great restart in the end. Moment of surprise is coming along. 15 seconds on the clock as we are making our way onto the final lap, and Esther Nemeth leading by quite some margin, with Moritz Čermej, the championship leader, right behind, together with Balázs Hartmann. 0.6 of a second across the line between them. The time is up, so this is the final lap of the race. And Moritz Čermej remaining close. This is definitely not what Esther Nemeth would have wanted, of course, as the leading gap completely disappeared due to the safety car. István Bernula defending from yesterday's winner Fabian Dibionka, and Moritz Čermej is already at it together with Balázs Hartmann. Now there we are fighting for second. Esther Nemeth further ahead, while Moritz Čermej has to go defensive against Balázs Hartmann. Marton Čuzy behind with Fabian Dibionka getting past István Bernula. Ton Knappen following suit. And through the stadium section we go for the final time this afternoon for the Suzuki Swift Cup. When Moritz Čermej sends it down the inside, there's a crash on the last lap. No, Esther Nemeth ending up in the gravel. What a terrible, terrible, terrible mistake. And Moritz Čermej sends Esther Nemeth into the gravel on the final lap. He's now leading the race, and it is Fabian Dibionka, yesterday's race winner, gaining so many places on the final lap. Is this going to be another victory for the Polish driver? because Moritz Čermej might get penalized for this, and Ester Nemeth dominating the entire race. Such a great race for Ester Nemeth, and now it is all coming undone with one silly mistake. We are now making our way around the final corner. It is the 2024 champion, Moritz Čermej, who is going to take the flag first and take victory in the Suzuki Swift Cup Europe race number 2 here in Brno. But is he going to be able to keep it? I don't think so. Dibionka second, Marton Čuzy in third from Tonknappen, Istvan Bernula, Zsombor Pinter, Gábor Foraj, Bastian Frischmann, and is even Ester Nemeth actually going to make it across the line? That was an unnecessary drama. Oh my goodness. And Balázs Hartmann also dropping dramatically down the field, ending up 14th on the road. That was really unnecessary. Let's see that again as Moritz Čermej sends it absolutely last minute. That had no chance of success. And then this contact that maybe even damaged the car of Balázs Hartmann, maybe even damaged the radiator, and with that Balázs Hartmann came back across the line in 16th, at least according to the live timing screen. What a rotten bit of luck. Moritz Čermej, this year's champion, ending the season with another victory, but I'm not really sure whether he'll be able to keep that. We're gonna wait a little bit if there is any sort of change. Fabian Dibionka in second, then Marton Čuzy, Tonknappen, Istvan Bernula, Zsombor Pinter, Gábor Foraj, and Bastian Frischmann. Maciej Šupčinský scoring the victory in the 1.6 class from Zoltán Čuzy. Boris Lisiecký in third from Greta Gál, Josef Merk. And then behind in 14th, Balázs Hartmann, Ferenc Hartmann, Ester Nemeth. Coming across the line in 16th, having led the race all through the afternoon, only to be tagged and spun around on the final lap in the final sector. That is not the way Ester Nemeth really wanted that race to end. Got the result posted right now. That's the information from the race control. However, I'm sensing there might be changes, but not sure whether we are going to learn about that anytime soon. It's of course provisional results for now, with Moritz Čermej currently still being showed as the race winner. Let's actually even see the results for ourselves in graphics. As the cars return back to the pits. So race number 2 of Suzuki Swift Cup Europe, ending with another victory for the champion Moritz Čermej from Fabian Dibionka, yesterday's race winner, and Marton Čuzy. You may notice the small gaps, of course, on the final lap that came right after the safety car period. And of course with Ester Nemeth finishing all the way down in 16th, having led pretty much the entire race and dropping down the order through no fault of her own. So that's it for the second race of the Suzuki Swift Cup Europe, the last race of 2024, and we are going to be finalizing another season very shortly as we are waiting for the Division 2 race number 2 of the car for the various generations of Formula 3, which is coming in just a couple of minutes.